Outward Bound looks at a group of Americans challenging the dimension of their own personality.
But with themselves.
All right, get in the rhythm. We're going about 1.5 miles an hour now, 1.5 knots. You can only row these boats at 2 knots, and then they reach a certain limit. Now you do.
The philosophy being implemented here off the coast of Maine is neither new nor radical. Self-gratification eventually leads to boredom, while self-discipline and commitment to others can be exciting and fulfilling. The philosophy is not new, but few people experiment with it because, initially at least, it can be painful. At the Outward Bound schools, the instructors believe that a certain amount of pain can be a useful catalyst.
The best way to get into our teaching or learning process in the boats is through confusion and maybe even fright. So the first time in the boats, we give no instructions, and what ensues is usually a lot of argument, confusion, chaos, and a rather drunken spider sort of rowing technique. The lessons flow easy after that.
The Outward Bound students are up at dawn, which on Hurricane Island in the month of May comes at 5 a.m. At this hour of the morning, the very act of getting up requires self-discipline, especially when you're facing the daily run and dip. There is no challenging the health value of pounding the island's 1-mile perimeter of rocks and pine. There is no pollution, no cars, no roads. But at the end of it all, there is the dip. It's a teeth-clenching exercise, hurling yourself through the near-freezing air into the near-freezing bay.
Icy cold.
Each person has been assigned a number within his section, or watch as it's called. Even as group pressure impels each person off the dock, he calls out his watch and number, linking himself to the group.
Number 12.
BJ finds it's best to jump and be done.
You stand at the top, and you look down at the water, and you know it's so cold.
Okay. Number 4.
I've learned one thing. I know that if I don't do something right away, it will build up in my mind to where it's hard to overcome.
But again, this morning, BJ and Eddie have overcome. It will never be easy, but what is practically unthinkable at the start will soon become almost routine. It is another step towards self-understanding and control.
Okay, get a hand up here. See if you can put your foot up and not your knee.
This is precisely what the architects of the Outward Bound program intend, as Eddie McGuire and his fellow students were warned right from the start.
We will ask you to partake in activities that have what we feel are understandable stresses attached to them. These are stresses that you should be able to overcome.
The director of training, the one wearing the cap, is Perry Gates. Ex-Navy pilot, expert seaman, he is the man who also explains to the students the purpose of stress.
The intention of this is to provide you with the opportunity to confront yourself. Not the weather, not the ocean, or the rocks so much, but yourself.
The self that this girl confronted was also suffering from the flu. The fever and the climb brought her to the verge of collapse.
Back straight, spread eagle. Oh, yeah. Okay, good. Put your arms in front of you a little bit.
Oh, what? Those are okay.
Okay.
The rope and wire is designed to build confidence in those fearful and awkward. Challenging as it looks, it is one of the easier obstacles.
You have to have the confidence to pull yourself over with a ladder swinging out. This is the position that you'll find yourself in. I do not want you to reach up and use this top cable. Okay, Joe, you ready for a fall?
Yep.
If you get ready to do this, and you don't feel that you can make it, and you just feel off, this is what happens to you. And that's the worst that can happen. That's it.
Go ahead. Before your energy goes out. Okay, now take a look at that upper rung there. You almost had it. That's what you want to get your foot in, your left foot in there, and you can stand up on it.
This obstacle, which looks moderately easy from the ground, can be fiendishly difficult 16 or 17 feet above the ground. It's meant to be.
Hold your arms and swing your right leg over like you did before. Over the log.
This girl is an achiever, a born winner. She is accustomed to success. She is in the process of failing.
Now, what did I just tell you?
Get my foot up on the top rung and put my left leg in, my right leg in.
You want to come down, or you want to try it again?
Try it once more.
Okay, now, swing that right leg over.
This is her 5th try at the beam.
Hold on. Very good. Now just pull yourself over and pull up. Go ahead. Okay, get clear of that left leg and bring it up a foot and catch the other rung of the ladder. Come on, you can do. You're already up there. A little more. You got it. You got it. Little more. Little more. Little bit. Try it again. Try it again. You're already there.
Come on, you can do it.
You can.
If self-confrontation and self-knowledge are among the ultimate objectives of the outward-bound student, then the achiever must be brought face-to-face with his own vulnerability, just as the underachiever must be taught to appreciate his own worth. Attaining that delicate balance is up to the instructor.
He must be able to make that stressful situation not only a safe one, but a very positive one and a very strong learning experience for those individual students.
Rafe Parker, in effect, the island commander. He has the responsibility of selecting those high-caliber instructors. Parker was raised in Cyprus, educated at Britain's elite military academy, Sandhurst, and was himself an outward-bound instructor in Zambia. I asked Parker about sadists becoming instructors.
Well, isn't there a danger of that kind of person, though?
There obviously is, and I think anyone who's able to sort of con his way into a job of our particular nature, there's no doubt about that. The next question is, and this usually does weed out the sadist, is, you know, are you willing to take an outward bound course? As a student, our program's designed to put your own personality on a plate.
Lean right out and take little short steps going over.
Parker's test of personality eliminates 29 of 30 would-be instructors.
Just lean out.
Good. This exercise is called rappelling, and it amounts to kicking off backwards over the side of a cliff.
That's it. So what you're going to do is ride this rope down. You have to keep your legs apart for balance. You're going to be leaning way out from the wall, okay? You're going to angle like this, okay?
Yeah.
You're just going to let the rope go through your right hand. And now just feed it through and walk backwards.
Some states offered the Outward Bound program as an alternative to reform school. Those looking for an easy ride, pick reform school.
Pull in like that.
Out of 89 students who enrolled in this course, 78 finished. One girl dropped out after twisting her knee during the morning run. 2 boys failed the pre-course physical. 2 were sent home, and 6 just plain dropped out.
Okay, VJ, want to stop yourself for a minute? As soon as you take your left hand off the rope. Okay.
You come here and you don't believe the things you're asked to do, and many kids do refuse to do them. That's it, I'm not doing it. And in our watch, we had four of the guys drop out, not the girls, the 4 of the males. And then it becomes more real after you realize that it's not just a capsize drill that they want you to do. It's not just getting wet. They want you to learn, once you begin to understand the meaning behind the tasks they ask you to do. It's not simply for rock climbing. It's not rock climbing that is important. It's the fact that you pushed yourself.
Hard! That's real hard! Hard!
If I could learn this much back in school or be this much alive within my mind, that'd be great. I've come out of a state of laziness.
Tuition for shaking off that laziness is $550 for the month-long course, although 1 student in 3 comes on a school-aided scholarship. A class ends its group training by planning and executing a 5-day, 100-mile expedition in the boats, sailing when there's wind, rowing when there's none. The instructors are out of sight in an escort boat, monitoring the convoy on radar. So, before departing, students must master the capsize drill.
Go on and pull, but it's great!
The count-off is the fastest way to see if anyone's missing in the 42-degree water. After the boat's righted, someone recalls an instructor's advice about singing when you're cold. It won't make you any warmer, but it will make you feel better.
What do you see, little Harry? What do you see, little infant? Blue and green, cold and dark, seaweed glowing hard.
Where do you go, little boat? Tar and timber, plank and sail. I go to green bays, lift them underneath.
The early days of the Outward Bound course are designed to probe the individual, expanding his frontier of self-confidence and his compassion for others. Useful qualities for facing the challenge ahead. The solo.
Harbors cold and deep and bold, wish that I could see.
There are hundreds of these tiny islands off the coast of Maine, uninhabited. They are the perfect location for the solo. After weeks of group activity, there is time for contemplation. Each student is marooned on such an island for 3 days and 3 nights, equipped only with a sheet of plastic for shelter, a sleeping bag for warmth, a flask of drinking water, an empty tin can for cooking, and 12 matches. There is also a book telling what things in nature are fit to eat, and a candy bar for each day, in case nature comes up short.
I didn't eat for 3 days. I ate all my candy before I got here. There was one dandelion. Tasted awful.
I built a fishing line. I did a lot of reading.
I didn't think I could do it. You know, if I was going to go nuts, I had to talk to somebody.
Without making actual contact, school officials check each island daily. To show that they're all right, the students are instructed to hoist a different colored flag each day. But, as Perry Gates told me, there can still be some bizarre incidents.
One instance, a boy literally fell off his island. He was walking the perimeter, and he fell off his island. He had his life jacket on as we had instructed him to, and he also had a whistle attached to his life jacket as we had instructed. And a lobsterman happened to pick him up, put him aboard the lobster boat, and brought him back to the island. He wrapped him up in a big tarp he had on board the boat and wrapped him up, and came down to Valley Cove here and arrived there. And we were standing around watching a capsize drill, I think it was, and he pulled up and pulled the tarp up, it looked kind of heavy, and rolled it out on the dock, and there was just thump, 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 like this. And he looked over to us and said, "This you was?"
Back in Waukegan, the idea of Outward Bound, solo and all, struck 18-year-old B.J. Lafferty as a fitting way to end her high school days and to prepare herself for college. Eddie McGuire, also 18, has 3 brothers and 6 sisters, and initially the solo was his idea of a vacation. But our cameraman briefly stalked Eddie on his island, and to the streetwise kid from Boston, this fishing on the bushes, as he called it, took some getting used to.
It was pretty lonely. I couldn't get adjusted to being all by myself. You know, right offhand, because there's 10 people in my family. I'm always used to having people around. And when I was out there by myself, I got pretty scared. Started looking around, you know, for somebody to talk to, and there was no one there.
The last night of Eddie's solo, a gale skimmed Penobscot Bay. By the time the school boat came to pick him up the next morning, Eddie was waiting.
How'd it go?
Fine. Do I look it?
Yeah, you look a little thinner.
I thought this, ooh, was it a hurricane that second night?
Yeah, it was. Blew about 40, 45. A lot of wind. A lot of wind.
The trees behind my tent went down and stuff. I didn't forget my prayers that night.
BJ, on her island, unaware of being filmed, plant guidebook in hand, checked nature's inventory. But nature's bounty wasn't about to make BJ late for her pickup either.
How was it?
Well, I'm glad I'm not sad to see it end. It makes you appreciate everything you never, you know, that you take for granted.
So, Count, how much water did you have? How much water did you drink? Yeah.
Oh, I'd say maybe 2 inches from it. I used it to boil clams in, and that was about it. Clams and beach peas.
Mm-hmm. Did you have your chocolate?
Yes.
Some of the food we gave you?
I ate that the first day.
Did you? All of it? All 3 packages?
The solo develops more than food consciousness, though. It was, for almost all the students, the first time in their lives that they had been totally alone for an extended period, and it evoked a certain degree of self-examination. Several girls claimed a new insight to the love and concern their parents had for them. And Eddie McGuire, Boston-bred, city-oriented, laid claim to a new outlook on life.
Well, I wasn't used to the trees. I'm from the city. I wasn't, you know, really into ecology, you know, nature, any of this. But I've come a long way. I like it now.
What have you learned? I mean, what is this new Eddie McGuire? What is the new side of you that's come out here?
To get along with people, I thought that I was always used to having the same steady friends, and I really didn't meet too many new people until I came here. I had to get adjusted to making new friends and getting along with other people, and you know, I like it. I don't even want to go home now.
Take me back on the bay, boys, clear away in the morning. I don't want to go ashore, boys, oh, bring it around.
The theory of stress education was the brainchild of educator Kurt Hahn, a Jewish refugee from Nazi Germany. In 1941, he developed a program to combat defeatism among torpedoed British seamen who were dying in the water without the will to survive until rescue. Outward Bound is an offshoot of that program. Just before leaving Hurricane Island, the students are asked to write their impressions of the Outward Bound program. I joined one group in their tent and talked to them about the course.
Did you get anything out of it? I mean, really look into yourselves for a moment now. Did you get anything? Did you find something in yourselves that you just didn't know was there?
Well, I think that it's made me, you know, like see things like to my highest peak, you know, like make me go like there's no stopping, you know, like there's more than well, I can't go any further.
Ellie, you were saying just before that you were a loner when you came here. What do you mean you were a loner? You didn't have friends, or you didn't get along with other people?
I don't get along with other people very well at all.
But do you now, here, with these people?
Yeah, I think so.
Why?
Well, because I've gone through a lot with them. I mean, well, I think it's been quite a bit. And just developed a lot of group consciousness. Developed a lot of thought for other people.
Mike, have you changed?
Well, I came here for the reason that my self-confidence, more responsibility with, for myself and other people. I think that's built up in my openness with people now, really being open.
Describe yourself the way you were before you came.
Yeah, a sleaze.
Hmm?
A sleaze.
A sleaze?
That was sleaze.
And how about now?
I'm really glad I came.
It's perhaps a little too easy to rhapsodize about a program that represents such a statistical drop in the mainstream. Assuming the very best, what does it amount to? 5,000 students a year with expanded vistas and heightened self-confidence? And yet, among those 5,000 are some older students, middle-level business executives, teachers, parole officers, men and women who should, if the program succeeds, carry their fresh perceptions and attitudes to a new group. Some 200 colleges and high schools have adapted their own versions of Outward Bound, which they offer for scholastic credit. If school director Peter Willauer is right, then the drop in the bucket has a continuing ripple effect.
I guess everybody asks what happens after Outward Bound. I usually tell the students on the last night that the course begins when they leave, that the greatest challenge is afterwards. I'd like to see Outward Bound as a catalyst for change.
It'll be hard to measure the change in BJ, Eddie, and their classmates. Having challenged themselves, they must now face the joy and pain of mastering those selves in the days ahead.
Your pain is the breaking of the shell that encloses your understanding. Much of your pain is self-chosen. It is the bitter potion by which the physician within you heals yourself. Therefore, trust the physician. Drink his remedy in silence and tranquility. Now, if we could all just take a few minutes and then go off to a good day.
Each of the students will have learned that they are better than they thought they were. And having learned that, they will never again be willing to settle for less.
One bell, two bells, don't all our bad times past and blown away.
This has been BJ Outward Bound.
Stop, rock them through, wind thy course to steer.
Narration by Correspondent Ted Koppel.
One bell, two bells, don't go grieving. All our bad times past and blown.
This has been a presentation of ABC News.